safety is a feeling, not a place. Why promises of protection can feel like control instead of care. Words alone cannot create safety. When Jenna walked through the shelter doors at 19, she carried nothing but a backpack and the weight of a relationship that had turned into a trap. Her boyfriend, who once promised love and protection, had been the one trading her body for sex so that he could buy drugs, monitoring her phone, and controlling her every move. Every promise of safety from him had been another form of control. At intake, a staff member handed her a form and repeated words she had heard before. "You're safe here now." But to Jenna, the phrase sounded hollow. Safety had been promised to her by people who had harmed her, abandoned her, or betrayed her. Now, strangers repeated it as if a key, a curfew, and a locked door could guarantee what she had been denied her whole life. Safety cannot be handed out like a room key. For survivors, safety isn't a destination or a set of rules. It is not found in the locks on the doors, the cameras on the walls, or the paperwork at intake. Those may create a sense of control for institutions, but they rarely create comfort for survivors. Safety is a feeling that grows in the body over time. It comes when someone listens without judgment, when choices are honored, when identities are respected, and when support doesn't come with strings attached. Survivors like Jenna know instinctively that being told "you're safe here" doesn't make it true. Promises to keep you safe can sound like another kind of control. When someone says, "we'll keep you safe," it can land in unexpected ways. For survivors who have been kept before, kept hidden, silenced, or controlled, the word "kept" itself is dangerous. It feels like another cage disguised as care. To Jenna, being kept safe echoed her boyfriend's manipulations. He had promised safety too, while stripping her of freedom. Institutions often repeat this dynamic without realizing it, turning shelter rules and program restrictions into replicas of abusive control. Survivors don't want to be kept. They want to be free. Survivors discover safety slowly through dignity and trust. True safety doesn't arrive instantly. It builds in small human moments. For Jenna, it wasn't the first night in the shelter or even the first month that felt different. Safety revealed itself in details, realizing no one was monitoring her movements, recognizing that staff respected her privacy, and hearing someone say, "You know yourself best." Safety is created when survivors are treated with dignity and trusted to make their own decisions. It is in the space to breathe without surveillance, the ability to say no without punishment, and the reassurance that mistakes will not erase their worth. Spaces labeled as safe can reproduce fear and control. The irony is that many safe spaces reproduce the very dynamics of fear they claim to protect against. Police cars parked outside of shelters may make staff feel secure, but for survivors with histories of criminalization, they trigger panic. Strict curfews and rigid rules mimic the control of abusive partners. Staff who judge survival strategies, like returning to sex work or maintaining contact with harmful partners, leave survivors feeling shamed rather than supported. Survivors don't measure safety by how strict a program is. They measure it by whether they are treated with dignity and humanity. Without that, safe spaces often deepen trauma instead of healing it. Survivors are tired of safety being treated as a destination. Too often, safety is framed as a place, a shelter, a group home, a probation office. Helpers say, "You'll be safe here," as though safety can be assigned like a bed number. But survivors know the truth. Safety is not a destination, it's a relationship. It matters less where someone is and more how they are treated. Safety cannot be delivered through a curfew or a check-in system. It comes through respect, trust, and the belief that survivors are the experts of their own lives. Until systems stop treating safety like a place to arrive at, they will continue to miss the heart of what survivors actually need. The power of safety lies in listening, trust, and self-determination. Safety is built through relationships, not institutions. It shows up when someone listens without judgment, stands beside you without taking over, and supports your right to choose, even if those choices are messy or imperfect. For survivors, the most powerful words are not, "We'll keep you safe," but "We trust you." Trust creates the space for healing, for self determination, and for survivors to reclaim their lives on their own terms. That is the foundation of true safety. Safety is the moment a survivor finally breathes freely. Safety isn't a locked door. It isn't a shelter bed. It isn't even the absence of immediate danger. True safety is the moment a survivor exhales, feels their own breath, and realizes they no longer have to brace for harm. It is not something that can be legislated, assigned, or enforced. Safety is a feeling, and like all feelings, it can only be nurtured. When survivors are treated with dignity, trusted with their choices, and supported without judgment, safety finally becomes real. Safety cannot be promised with a lock, a curfew, or a room key. It must be earned through trust, dignity, and respect. Survivors like Jenna remind us that what matters most is not the place they are sent, but the way they are treated once they arrive. If we want to build a world where safety is real, we must stop speaking it as a hollow guarantee and start practicing it as a daily commitment. Because safety is not a destination we deliver, it is a feeling survivors deserve to carry in their own bodies on their own terms for the rest of their lives.